started it from way back. How was that? Nice little extra. The very distinctive face of the Hyundai Santa Fe, the big boy in the local South African Hyundai range, was facelifted recently, and there is a recent video on the channel showing you shot at the launch of the facelift model. You can see this massive grille split over there. You got the lower section over there, of course, all over here saying this is big, this is bold. You got LED headlights over here, look at them, daytime running lights that run across over there and down over there. So it certainly is a bold, imposing face. Come around the sides. You've got nice big 19-inch wheels over here. You can see them, they are significant. Of course, the dual tone mag wheels. Lots of clearance for the wheels for wheel articulation, which is important as well. Because although this is the 4x2 version, there is a 4x4 available as well. But this is the lower model in the range. But still, you can see it. It's big, it's got running strips across over here as well. Let's open. Look at the length of the back doors. You can see they're wide back doors. There is, of course, a reason for that. Pop the back door open over here. Let's have a look for a moment. And you'll see a number of features. Just go to the center to start off. And notice you've got aircon vents over there. And below it, there are 2 USBs in the rear. That's such an important feature as far as I'm concerned. You've got, of course, full leather trim, quilted effect in various areas. Over there you can see you've got ISOFIX on the outer 2 seats. All those kind of features are there, and they're in abundance. And if you have a look over here, remembering this is a 7-seater vehicle. We'll do more of the 7-seater in a few moments, so let's just leave that for now. Move round to the rear of the vehicle over here now. And you come right round to the back. And I've got the rear hatch open already. The usual problem with most 7-seaters you can see now, if you've got the extra 2 seats up, your boot space is limited. But I'm showing you now, if the seats are down, you've got gigantic boot space. Look at that, all the way across. But now, for example, I've got it in 6-seater mode. You can play around with configurations. Another neat little thing is, of course, a little hidey hole storage area over there. Just 4 extra things. You can see your jack very neatly placed over there. Then, if I step across, you have a look here. Here are some important little buttons. First of all, there is a 12-volt socket in the rear, and that's a nice feature. And also, there are buttons next to it to drop the middle row seats over there, and that's nice and important as well. You'll have to put it up manually. It doesn't come up automatically like on some cars, but that's not important at all. We'll get it back up in a moment. Of course, as expected, auto tailgate, nice feature as well. You've of course got the lights right across that strip across the whole tailgate. Very neat tail lights over there. This is an important legend you look at over here. 2.2D. Now, the new Santa Fe is powered by a new engine. It's not the engine that they used before. It's a slightly different version, but it does put out a couple of extra kilowatts. 148 kilowatts, 440 Newton meters of torque out of this 2.2 diesel engine. And that's pretty significant. And I can tell you it is important to the vehicle. You look down on the bumper, on the rear bumper, you can see chrome. And it's got a bit of a skid plate effect as well to create something of the off-road effect if you feel it's necessary. Big, handsome, lots of space, lots of capacity. We're going to look inside in a couple of seconds and you'll see what it's all about. One of the biggest challenges with 7-seaters is your access to that rearmost row of seats. Well, Hyundai have come up with a neat trick on the one side. Is this button. Press it and it does that to give you your access. Very neat. So what's it like for an old man like me to climb into the extra rear seats? Well, let's see. I've got enough room over here. The leg room is not that bad. Headroom is very good even with my hat on. I like the fact that you've got a window over there, but it was a bit of a contortion for me getting in the door and past that seat, I must admit. So I'll give it about a 5 out of 10 rating for accessibility for an adult. Kids, I'm sure, will have no issue whatsoever, but I'm not going to give it a top rating for an old guy. Little bit too much contortion needed to get in here. Most impressive feature of the Santa Fe seems to be its pure cruising ability. The fact that you can take it out on a highway, open road, sit at 100, 120, doesn't matter which, 8th gear, and it just is so very smooth, so very relaxed. At 100 k's an hour, it's on 1500 revs, this diesel engine, which is quite something as well. Obviously, it's a long wheelbase, it's a big vehicle, which contributes to the smoothness. This is not a very smooth piece of highway road, and yet it's just cruising along in sheer comfort. Really impressive, and it's actually, to me, a standout feature of this vehicle. In behind the wheel of the Santa Fe, and you can see the instrumentation is pretty basic, but you know what, I quite like that. You don't need everything, not in a vehicle like this. But I want to show you something absolutely incredible. Look at that. Since refueling, done 409 kilometers, and yes, that average, according to the computer, 6.2 liters per 100. I did a road trip of 270 kilometers of this test, and we actually showed 6.0. So this engine is certainly efficient, that it tells me, and it cruises beautifully. We sat at speed limits the whole time. I just took it very, very easy, and look what I achieved. I think that's pretty superb, quite honestly. The steering wheel, well, it's very standard. You've got the controls over there for your trip computer, for the various functions over there. You've got everything over here. You've got, of course, your sound systems. That's all normal. Of course, cruise control back on the right-hand side. I didn't show you that one. You've even got flappy paddles. Yep. Because let's talk gearbox quickly now. I told you about the engine before. What Hyundai have done is, on the new facelift version, they've changed the gearbox. It's now an 8-speed dual clutch automatic, and it certainly is smooth and comfortable. Something very, very different is, let's come down to this very high center console over here. Very large, very wide, but look here. This is your gear shift. We're in park now. Press button for neutral, or for example, press that one into reverse. And of course, when you go into reverse, your reverse camera shows up very, very quickly and clearly. You would expect that, wouldn't you? But it's definitely different. That, put it back into park, then you can see you got your standard screen over there, gives you everything you want. Android Auto doesn't have standard navigation on the car, which, I don't know, I've often complained and said I would expect it. But you use Android Auto, works very, very well. And there's a reason why it works so well on this car that I found. Come back down onto the console over here. And first of all, do you notice the USB port over there, where I'm pointing? Right here. But then just behind that is a slot for your phone. Now this is something I think is such a good idea. Your phone slides right into it. It's secure, it's held well. It even has inductive charging in there. So it's really neat, convenient, doesn't fall around, flop around, move around all the time, and it's right by the USB. So it works very, very well. Like it. Nice little touch. Another touch on the vehicle. Let's just, while we're up here, let's look at this drive mode selector over here. Now, of course, remembering that the model we're in right now does not have 4x4. The Elite, it offers 4x4. So the Elite on the drive mode has, of course, your 4x4 selectors as well. This one, if you go up to the screen before I start turning and twiddling with it, you will see that when I turn it, actually shows on the center screen. My apologies. Let me just come and show you over here and bring the camera back here. And when I twirl this drive mode selector, there you are. You can go into sport, smart, comfort, eco, etc. I just left it in smart for this whole test, and it certainly was smart enough. So I think it was a good option. Of course, with the 4x4 version, it also allows, if you leave it in smart, the selection between which wheels are driven, etc., and you leave it entirely to the vehicle. But now I want the camera to move down over here. Remembering how high and wide this center console is, you've got a really nice open area down below over here, which has a scratchy surface. So in other words, it can hold items neatly. But you've got USB and 12 volt there as well. So driver's USB up top, passengers down there, 2 more for the back. That's what you're looking for in this kind of vehicle. I like it. You can see there's a softish touch to the dashboard, multi-layered, which is quite interesting, with the screen in the center and another little storage space in front of the passenger there as well. Again, with the pimple effect that it will hold things reasonably well in place. Nice stitching over there. Overall, what Hyundai have done with this vehicle, I believe, is they've certainly moved it upmarket a little bit and made it into a premium vehicle. Even in the 2-wheel drive version, I don't think it really makes that much difference. You've got the SUV factor, you've got the extra bit of ground clearance, and for those kind of people who really hardly ever go off-road, this is more than enough and more than acceptable. Price-wise, 769, call it 770,000 Rand. You add another 100,000 for the 4-wheel drive with the drive modes for off-road features and functions as well. So you can add that if you want. That's a choice only the buyer can make. But it certainly is competitive in the 7-seater SUV category, that is for sure. And of course, remember, it does include that 6-year, 90,000 kilometer service plan, the Hyundai 7-year warranty. All those sort of features are included as well. The Santa Fe, to me, has always been a bit of a forgotten contender in this category. Well, I think it deserves to no longer be forgotten with this latest update and facelift. I think it's up there. It's just a matter of public perception. And let's see what the public think about it. Overall, I think they've done a very, very good job with this upgrade and facelift. And if you're in this market, don't leave out the new Santa Fe when you are shortlisting your vehicles and your choices. You do that at your own peril. For Motor Matters, I'm Eleanor. See you next time.